Well, with regard to sustainable development, I like the definition that an economist gives of sustainable development. It's Catherine Oberthar. She says that it's the normative ambition of establishing a state of universal wellness by humanizing and by naturalizing the economy. And I think that everything is in it. Ambition, because unfortunately, we're not there yet. But we have goals. Normative, because through which means can it be achieved? Well, through the adoption of texts, legal texts, or norms in a market. And why? So that people will lead a better life. The problem is that this universal wellness should not come about by making the planet a zone that must not be affected. It should come about by the adoption of policies that bring together human beings in the space in which they're living. And that's the main contribution of geography. It's the ability to connect the societies to their territories. Human beings are living on the planet, and they're changing the planet. Well, I'm very upset when people find scapegoats when there is a problem. In other words, people believe that all evil comes from global companies, GMOs, or biofuels. I am upset when they find scapegoats to which you can point your finger as though they were responsible for everything that is going wrong. On the other hand, I am also upset when you say that the solution to a problem is the microcredit, small-scale family agriculture, or the spirulina. There are fixed ideas everywhere, and I believe that in reality, all kinds of agriculture are necessary to face global nutrition problems. You cannot oppose something that you consider good, like small-scale family agriculture, to something that you consider bad, like the big multinational company or the food chain. Why? Because in reality, the challenges are multidimensional. The first challenge we think about is the fact that there are 1,300 million small farmers, many of whom cannot feed themselves sufficiently, and many of whom who have an income problem. This means that they are living in insecurity at every level, economically, politically, and in terms of climate change. And 50 million among them leave the countryside every year and migrate into the cities. When we look at this problem, we could say, we have to pay them better, we have to restart their agricultural production. But on the other hand, we are facing another challenge with the immense metropoles which emerge, because all farmers who are leaving the countryside end up in the cities. Tomorrow, our world will be a world of cities. Today, every second person lives in a city. Tomorrow, 2 out of 3. And all these cities need to be fed. So, to bring together small-scale family agriculture and the big cities, there are 2 solutions. The first solution is to build alliances between these farmers, because one farmer alone does not have any power. The farmers need structures that can give them more power, that allow them to defend their economic and political rights, like the right of access to land. So we need cooperatives, trade unions, production alliances, and then we have to enable the farmers to process their harvest, to transport it, to sell it, and to sell it to their regional markets. Today, the problem is that a lot of cities in developing countries need imports from the world markets because they have difficulties distributing their own internal production, even though it exists. So, big agricultural enterprises, big transport companies, distributors, and food chains play a very important role. Often, we put the big agricultural companies that are connected with the global markets, that are extremely competitive, and that have giant land surfaces, into opposition with an army of small, isolated farmers. In reality, it is possible to encourage alliances between farmers, to develop a negotiation and a sales force. But for this, they need partners. They cannot do everything on their own. They cannot handle the entire distribution of their goods. These partners are efficient and competitive enterprises. They can transport agricultural produce and ensure essential conditions of food security, like regular deliveries, guarantee of healthy food, and the availability of food at all times of the year. So, the big companies can have a powerful effect on the dynamism of agricultural production if they choose to be interested in small farmers or in trade unions. Thereby, they can help farmers to generate revenue. At the same time, of course, do not expect that an enterprise will produce public goods out of sheer generosity. A company exists to make a profit, and that's perfectly normal. It's even its duty. Is it negative by definition to make a profit? Not if the profit is shared. And the question is, how are the profit margins in the production chain distributed between harvesting, processing, and distribution of food? Is the farmer's revenue appropriate given that he contributes a large part of the work? To increase the part given to the farmer, a farmers' association is necessary, and it is also necessary that the governments are doing their jobs. In those countries where multinationals abuse their power, they do not face any restriction by the government. A powerful government could impose certain norms, for example, regarding distribution, payment, or health. It would also be free of corruption, integrated with the population. A government, in short, that cannot be bought by big interests and that cares about the interests of its farmers. In a country where farmers make up 60% of the active population and control 2/3 of the territory, a government cannot afford to neglect its farmers. In developing countries, we often see governments who like to blame anonymous entities, speculation, the big enterprises, the IMF, the WTO, while they are in reality the ones responsible for the fact that they neglect their farmers' interests. They make their own situation worse because they prevent the development of a potential interior market. However, once the farmers earn revenue, you don't have to export goods abroad because you can rely on your own market. That was the secret of the Asian tigers, and it's what's happening in China still today. It means that you are no longer forced to participate in global competition. You are in a world where you can create wealth at home. Once this happens, we can start working on sustainable development. Well, environmental problems. The problem today is that we have a tendency to see only them. We have the vision of a threatened planet. We say that we need a sustainable planet. That doesn't mean anything. What we need is sustainable human beings. To achieve sustainable human beings, it is important that those who work on our landscape, the farmers, become the center of our efforts in sustainable development. Why? Firstly, because they are the ones who can safeguard biodiversity by using good systems of agricultural production. Biodiversity is even more important given that it is biodiversity that produces food. The second reason is that farmers can provide new forms of renewable energy, green energies, with implications for both pure energy provision and for green chemistry. There are many applications for these in agricultural production. You will tell me, but that will hurt food provision. Actually, production resources for food are quite big. For example, in terms of fertile land available. Not everywhere. Some regions have big structural deficits, but in those regions where land does not have much value, farmers can make other use of it, for the production of food, for feed for animals, of fiber for textile industries, or of fuel, biofuels or forests which benefit the environment. There are a million possibilities of things that you can do with a territory, but to exploit them, farmers have to be encouraged. When agricultural practices are good, it saves carbon dioxide, it ensures a long life for fertile land, and it allows farmers to live in viable circumstances. It allows them to invest in their farms because they know they won't be deprived of these farms in one way or another. It allows them to earn their life, to provide satisfactory living conditions for their family and their children, and to earn enough revenue to finance other non-agricultural activities or services in their area.
D'autres services non agricoles ou agricoles en milieu rural.